by the Montana Television Network. Montana This Morning continues on Montana's News Leader.
After idling in a makeshift tent city yesterday, today the migrant caravan is expected to travel closer to the U.S. I'm Laura Podesta. I'll have the latest, including why President Trump is backing away from one statement he made earlier about the group.
And big money being thrown around in the fight over Initiative 185 in Montana. Coming up, find out who's behind another $8 million in spending on both sides of that battle.
Good morning to you. Welcome to your Wednesday. It is 6:31. I'm Missy O'Malley with Chet Lehman. Our top story for you now. The caravan of migrants traveling through Mexico is back on the move this morning. They took a rest yesterday in honor of a man who died after falling off of a truck.
In Washington, D.C., President Trump struggled to defend his claims that terrorists in the caravan. CBS's Laura Podesta has the details.
Less than 50 miles into Mexico and more than 1,000 miles from the U.S. border, the caravan of migrants paused yesterday. Some took the time to receive medical care. Others found fresh clothes, and children filled up on food donated by local residents. Candles were lit to honor a fellow migrant who died after falling off a truck earlier this week.
Hoy estamos de luto. Este compañero venía con muchos sueños.
Today we're in mourning. He had many dreams, this man said.
You're going to find MS-13, you're going to find Middle Eastern, you're going to find everything.
After making those claims about the caravan on Monday, President Trump admitted yesterday he could not back them up.
There's no proof of anything. There's no proof of anything. But they could very well be.
This migrant from Honduras says he wants to tell the president that there are only humble, hardworking people in the group, no terrorists. More than 1,500 people have already dropped out of the caravan, choosing to apply for asylum in Mexico. For those who want to come to the U.S., Secretary of State Mike Pompeo sent a clear message.
Legal immigration is the surest way to obtain the better life you're looking for here in the United States of America.
The caravan is more than a month away from reaching the closest point in the U.S., and to make it to the San Diego border like a caravan earlier this year would double their journey. Laura Podesta, CBS News.
Now, only 200 migrants of the 1,200 in that group earlier this year made it to the U.S. port of entry in California. 3 of them were given asylum. So we'll continue to follow that story.
Yes, we will.
Yeah,
we're going to talk a little bit about the weather.
That's exactly
let's
right.
do that. Hey, the temperatures are fantastic
Holy
this
cow.
morning. Yeah, we've got 30s and 40s. We were sitting into the low 40s in West Yellowstone here, and
awesome.
it's still
Under
right
a big
there.
bright moon.
It is fantastic. The clouds are kind of crowding into our sky at this point as a couple of showers trying to work their way back through here. Our daytime high is expected to be near 60, but there is a chance of a few passing showers from time to time today. We'll talk about what that means for the rest of your week, including a look at your weekend, coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Matt. It's now 6:34, and we continue today with results from our fall election poll, sponsored by MTN News and Montana State University. Now, in the contest for Montana's only U.S. House seat, the poll shows Republican Congressman Greg Gianforte leading his Democratic challenger Kathleen Williams. MTN's Mike Dennison has more on those numbers.
The MTN MSU poll of 2,000 registered Montana voters gives Republican Greg Gianforte a 7.5-point lead over Democrat Kathleen Williams, 47.6% to 40.1%. 2.4% of those polls say they're supporting Libertarian Eleanor Swanson, but 10% are undecided or supporting someone else. The poll has a margin of error of plus or minus 2% and was taken during a 3-week period between September 17th and October 6th. MTN political analyst David Parker says these numbers show Gianforte is a clear favorite in the race, but he also sees a narrow path that Williams could pursue to make it closer.
I see growth potential in the fact that if she can get more women, especially married women, because 11% of married women are undecided in this race. That tells me there might be some coolness, some leeriness, some wariness towards Greg Gianforte that she could capitalize in this race.
The poll shows that more women voters overall support Williams, 47% to 41% over Gianforte. But Gianforte has a huge advantage among male voters who favor him 54% to 34%. He also has a big or solid lead among all voters 40 and older, while Williams leads only among those younger than 40, a group that usually has lower turnout. And Gianforte has a substantial lead among voters with less than a college degree, a group that makes up a majority of Montanans. One bright spot for Williams is that she leads among voters who call themselves independents, a big voting bloc in Montana. But Parker says for Williams to pull an upset, she needs not only these independents, but also a lot of other dominoes to fall her way.
Kathleen to win, everything's got to go right. She needs to have high Democratic voter turnout. She needs to have those independents move in her direction. And then she's got to hope for some Republicans either move towards her or don't show up.
Republicans have won this seat for 12 consecutive elections. Our poll indicates that streak will likely stay intact, and that breaking it is a possibility, but a long shot. Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Now, next up on the MTN MSU poll, what are Montana voters thinking about the ballot initiatives, including initiatives on Medicaid expansion and tobacco on taxes, also on mining regulations?
Now, staying on that topic, one of the big tobacco companies has thrown another $5 million into the campaign against Initiative 185. Meantime, supporters of the Medicaid expansion and tobacco tax ballot measure have added nearly another $3 million to their campaign effort. Campaign over I-185 has become the second most expensive campaign in Montana this year, second only to the U.S. Senate race. Altria, the makers of Marlboro cigarettes, gave the anti-I-185 campaign $5 million in the past 3 weeks. Montana hospitals are lending the campaign battle for Initiative 185. They pitched in another $2 million in the past 3 weeks, upping their total to nearly $5.7 million out of the entire campaign bankroll of $7.7 million. That initiative would raise tobacco taxes by $2 a pack to help fund the state's share of Medicaid expansion.
And Butte election officials are warning voters about another mailer that has bad information about mail-in ballots. Butte clerk and recorder Sally Hollis said a Republican Party-sponsored mailer incorrectly states that it will be mailing out ballots and they will be counted if they come in even 10 days after Election Day on November 6th. She says all mailed-in ballots must be received before 8 o'clock on the evening of November 6th or they will not be counted.
Make sure you have your ballot to the Civic Center or to the voting places throughout the county by 8 o'clock on Election Day. That's key.
Now, voters statewide, not just in Butte, are also getting this bad advice, so everyone needs to know if you don't think your ballot will get there in time by mail, you need to drop it off at your county election office for it to be counted.
Good advice right there.
Yes.
By the way, new numbers from the Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services show the number of medical marijuana patients continues to grow. Data released on October 20th shows a little more than 29,000 medical marijuana patients with providers in Montana. That's an increase of about 2,500 since the last time the state released data back in July. Those patients are served by 388 state-approved providers. 33 additional provider applications are pending. That's about the same number of providers since July. Meantime, 221 Montana doctors have patients who have been prescribed medical marijuana. The state data shows Gallatin County has the most patients and providers of any county in the state, with more than 5,200 cardholders, nearly 100 providers. The number one condition medical marijuana prescribed for, severe chronic pain. Largest group of cardholders are adults aged 30 to 40. In fact, nearly half, 43% of all cardholders are under the age of 40. 1/3 of the state's providers serve 3 or fewer patients. However, state data shows one provider with more than 2,000 cardholders.
In other news, Montana State University's latest television commercial features the university's efforts to increase the number of women in engineering. It's a small glimpse of what the year in a life of a female engineering student looks like. The College of Engineering hopes that this commercial will be inspiring for young women to become engineers, which is a male-dominated field.
Women have historically been underrepresented in engineering, some disciplines more so than others, but we're obviously not underrepresented in society. We make up half of society, so it's important for women who are considering, what careers they want to go in to see someone who would serve as a role model and to not feel like they're the only ones going into something.
Now, that commercial also features many women faculty members in the College of Engineering as well.
Shifting gears just a little bit, now that Jackrabbit Lane construction about complete, bicyclists eagerly awaiting another part of the project. It's the addition of a new bike path parallel to the road. This path connects Belgrade city limits to Four Corners. Planning director for the city of Belgrade and avid cyclist Jason Karp says there used to be quiet routes you could take to get to Four Corners, but with growth of both Belgrade and Bozeman All the roads now very busy, especially during peak hours.
And for people who commute, they're naturally riding during peak hours. There's not a good way to do it. And so, this opens up that possibility for people. It could open up the possibility of people taking, Streamline one way and the bike one way. And then we're going to have more businesses and homes built in that corridor. And this is just going to make, those businesses accessible for folks on bikes and on foot.
Now, Carp did mention that the Montana Department of Transportation working on finishing touches of that bike path. People should hold off on using the path during the week for right now. Good stuff.
Always a good little reminder there
Absolutely
to keep
true.
it safe.
Yep.
It is time for a quick break. Here's a little sneak peek ahead at what's coming up on Montana this morning.
More women are campaigning for the midterm elections. I'm Eliana Diaz with a look at why more women are getting involved.
Good morning. Ahead on CBS this morning, there's a winner in the Mega Millions $1.6 billion jackpot. We're in South Carolina, where lotto officials are tracking them down. And award-winning chef Christina Tosi and her cakes will be with us in Studio 57, how she's changing the way we eat dessert and why she says you should break the rules of baking. We'll see you at 7.